Hey, so I've had some questionable things happen in this world I used to own with my brother. Mind you, he passed away recently. Could you possibly go through the videos I have unlisted? I can't figure out the issue and I don't know why they are the way they are. Here's a playlist containing the videos. Let me know if there are any issues.
I never thought I'd ever get caught up in a story hidden behind the horrors of mental illness, sorrow, and grief that spirals into a twisted, deranged fantasy of self-hate and a moral hatred for the supposed loved ones of those who simply passed on. It started off with a Minecraft video from someone named Zeno, who had a weird experience on a world he used to play with his older brother Isaias. The first video, titled "I Miss You Too, Isaias," starts with our main protagonist, Marcus, who goes on to explain his reasonings to making this video in the first place, stating it's kind of a way to cope with the passing of his brother and the bullying he receives at school, even going on to say that his brother was the one who normally helped him with the bullying.
He used to play on the older versions of Minecraft, so a few years ago we made this world with mods to kind of replicate that old Minecraft feel. He helped build this house with me. It's not an exact replica, but it's a pretty close replica to our childhood house. It even has working lights.
As we move on, Marcus gives us a quick and easy house tour, and seeing from how long it takes him to get through the first portion of the house, this world held some kind of sentimental value to our protagonist.
Oh gosh, I forgot how much he used to play.
He explains who would have each room: his parents' room, his brother, and his. And upon checking the storage room chests, he would come across a chest with a book in it. Though he had to double back to the chest, he realizes quickly that this book was signed by a user named Isaias. It was his brother's. The name of the book is what stands out to me. First Letter. Could this be hinting towards anything of significance? I don't know. However, Marcus expresses his concerns about people logging onto the world. As mentioned in the messages before, it was a world that he and his brother owned, which means no one but them had access to that world, unless it was an invite sent out by them.
After he passed, I took sole ownership of most of his belongings, including his computer. No one has his logins but me. So to have access to this world, you need to be invited by me or him.
He even had his brother's possessions, his PC and account logins, meaning only he had access to that world. And then there was the book. I know the days to come will be hard with my absence. Memories will come to pass and our journey will come to an end. I will be gone, but not gone from your heart. Savor the memories we made together, Marcus. Support our mom in whatever way you can. You are a bright young man. Our time is nothing but short and limited. Unfortunately, my time has come. I love you, Marcus. Your big brother, Isaias. I miss you too. A sweet response to a book reassuring Marcus to stay strong, cherish his brother's memories, and help those who are also suffering like his mother. But pick this up with me. This is where we learn how relatable our protagonist is. His "I miss you" message wasn't just from the emotions or sentimental feelings he got from reading the book, but from correlation between the name of the book, first letter, and the capitalizations of each line on each page. We get one message from Isaias: "I miss you." Sweet but subtly creepy in my opinion. This message, initially left behind, gives Marcus hope to push on, but the deeper meaning and hidden message just leaves a stain of grief and sorrow on my tongue. I can't believe anything good will lead from this, but I will say it's a little bittersweet. And then, as Marcus finishes his house tour, he does notice a chest next to a tree in the distance.
That chest shouldn't be there.
Marcus quickly, with no hesitation, makes his way over to that chest, going into it and finding a book called Healing Wound. If you're reading this, I'm sorry I couldn't be there to continue supporting you in your darkest times. I know you're wondering why these books are showing up around the world. I had them planted right before everything went down. I don't want you going down a dark path like me. Mental health is a struggle, and you know it is too. You're a mentally resilient kid. I've never seen you break down, no matter the stress from school or the other kids that give you shit. Marcus, I know you'll be wondering why I did what I did, and I know you want answers from me or anyone in the family. If they haven't told you, you'll find out somehow in some way. No, I will always love you, and though this is a dark time for you, there will always be light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to be willing to walk in the dark to find the end. A book explaining the first letter and the book found in this chest, confirming Marcus's assumptions that Isaiah indeed pre-planned the books for Marcus to find. Marcus would then go on to end the video by going to show off the rest of the buildings, primarily the dock that he built inspired by other infrastructure around his household, and the villager trading hall that he and his brother built for his world. However, I have to put a halt here before the end of this segment, as one very important thing happens that Marcus never caught up on, and that was the black figure seemingly watching him from the top of the lighthouse the entire time he was outside after noticing the chest next to the tree. In each instance, the figure is doing something different, whether that's in a different position or flat out disappearing from sight. This world is a world accessed by other players. For someone to be on the world isn't too far-fetched. Getting the IP address by chance or having the IP or world invite leaked isn't a 0% possibility. However, for the user to not have a name that's visible, especially when this close to Marcus, sparks some reasonable question. Who is this?
Hello again. It's been a while since the last time I recorded, but there's been some really weird things going on. I tried to play alone on the world, but things just kept happening. I'm going to show you what I mean, as it kind of freaked me out. As of right now, this is the first time I'm on in like a week. Remember, no one can get on this world without an invite.
It's been about a week since Marcus has tried to play alone on this world. The start to the second video, Alone, has Marcus concerned about unusual activity in his world. He even goes on to try and hide the fact that a player is in the world with him. However, the unusual activity that he's referring to was door changes on the main house that he and his brother built, from oak doors to spruce doors, and torches to redstone torches. However, as he does a full house sweep and storage room check, he double backs to check his parents' room. Call it superstition, but from what I could tell, Marcus felt that something was still off. He would go a step forward to check the chests within the room and find a book titled End. The book read in a way only you could understand. Why does Marcus only know or understand what this means? Is it something that is on the nose for us, or is it really just that he can only understand? And the rest of the chests in all the other rooms held papers with one paper in the same slot named End. I couldn't think about what this was about, let alone what kind of cipher or puzzle this was hinting at. However, Marcus quickly picked up the pieces, and seeing how fast he solved it and how he reacted to it gave me reasons to be concerned.
I don't like this. Isaiah is dead.
To better understand what Marcus got from this, I decided to take a look at the puzzle a little bit deeper. Now, this is definitely a word cipher that we can put together, but how he solved it is a little bit difficult to me. Taking a look at it, we know that chests have 27 slots in them. And for every chest to have something in the 27th slot, I'd assume it'd have to do something with our alphabet system, assuming that it ranged from 1 through 26 going left to right. So that means going from the chest from his parents' room all the way through to his brother's room and his, taking a look at each and every chest, the message that he got was, "Look for me, Marcus. Help." That's what spooked Marcus, a cry for help. Maybe the player that he's seeing around the world isn't a player. Maybe it's his brother, trapped, manifested within his world, yearning for help. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is somebody messing with Marcus. Maybe they put this puzzle here for him, showing the situation that he's in. But there are a few things that we do want to point out here. First off, it's the person that left the game. I don't know what kind of name that is. I for sure cannot figure out who and what it means. Another thing is the beds. In the first video, the beds were black. Now they have changed to red beds, and Marcus completely overlooks this. But it is very intriguing the fact that the torches and everything else changed. And of course, the little paper trail being left behind by Isaiah for Marcus to find. Jumping forward a bit, Marcus goes on to check on the villagers in his villager trading hall. He sees that 2 of them are missing. We know that this is an issue because in the first video, all of the villager slots were filled with a villager. We could check this up to the figure that we saw recently, or maybe even the player that left the game while Marcus was doing the puzzle, but we don't know. Marcus completely overlooks a lot of things. So there's a lot of things that could be of speculation here. Either Marcus is doing something to this world, or whoever this mystery player is responsible for whatever is going on in this world. My speculation is that this player has some sort of ties to Marcus, as there's no reason for this player to be on this world. I highly doubt any sane person would want to leak the IP or the invite code to a world of a dead player, of one who is grieving the death of their brother. Marcus would then go to one of the towers that his brother built. However, the first chest that he goes into has an arrangement of weird items. In hindsight, taking a look at this with just a glance, everything in this chest seems normal. But taking a deeper look at this, all of these items are odd to be inside of a watchtower chest. Why wasn't there bows or arrows inside of here? Why couldn't it be anything else other than armor? Why random blocks? Why an anvil, redstone torch, or even farmland or fertilized dirt? This is an assortment of items that are just weird for it to be inside of a watchtower chest. This is a cipher of some sorts. A word cipher, one that we've solved before. So this isn't necessarily hard for us to decipher, at least in terms of knowing what it is. Taking the first letter from each item, we get this. Now, taking into account duplicate items, we know that each repeated item represents a different letter depending on how many of them there are. So our cipher would change from what we have to this. I don't know if Marcus caught wind of the cipher. I don't know if he solved it mentally or if he really let it go over his head, but this is definitely warning him or telling him that he is not alone in his world. As he checks the second chest, we see a lot of the items in the previous chest in this one as well, except the one thing is the book that stands out. He takes the book, but his first actions are to question in game chat who is messing with him. He is definitely peeved about this. I can tell just by the way he is typing. All of us can. And I would be too. I definitely do not blame Marcus for the way he is acting right now.
Whoever has access to this world needs to leave and stop messing around. This isn't some prank. This is a world precious to me.
I wouldn't want somebody tarnishing or even meddling in a world that is meant to preserve the memories of somebody that I've lost. So I understand where Marcus is coming from. However, what is of concern is what contents are in the book. The book seems to hold a set of coordinates, and these set of coordinates are pretty far.
What the hell? This isn't some sick game.
Marcus would then threaten whoever is on the world with not so nice threats. Nothing bad, but I'll say it would leak information that I wouldn't say or want on the video. Aside from that, Marcus decides to do the only smart thing in this situation and find where these coordinates lead. The coordinates led to a house in the middle of the woods, in chunks that he claimed were already rendered by him and his brother. So how did the house get there? What is the significance of the house being there now? Inside of it was a red bed. In my opinion, I kind of think that this is a coincidence. And there was a chest. Inside the chest held a book. The book held an encrypted text, one that I didn't have the means of solving. I didn't know what kind of cipher was used to encrypt this text. I was going to assume a Caesar cipher, however, upon putting it in, no matter how many times I shifted the text, I didn't get an answer in return. So my luck ran out. I could not solve this cipher. And unbeknownst to us, Mark didn't want to solve it either.
I'm not reading that, nor am I going to try and solve it. I'm going home.
Upon making his way back, he stumbled across one of the pathways that led back to the house. This was one of the pathways that he was looking at earlier. Intrigued, he decided to stick around and explore a bit. In doing so, he was able to find a sign on the edge of a cliff. Intrigued, he built his way over to it. Upon reaching it, the sign read, "Alone." I can only describe frustration from his actions. He mined the sign and replaced it, leaving it blank, leaving the scene kinda distraught at what he found. He then makes his way over to the farm, something that he didn't get to talk about.
I never talked about the farm last time. Despite all this weird stuff, the farm was something I wanted to learn redstone with. Me and Isaiah wanted to learn it together.
However, he suddenly stopped picking up the wheat as he felt something was wrong with the farm.
I could have sworn this wasn't on this side.
Freaked out by the incident and seeing that the wheat was on the opposite side of where it was previously, he went back to the tower where he got the book from. I don't know what he was doing, but I think he was acting out of nervous impulse. However, he noticed something weird. A completely new pathway just abruptly showed up next to the tower. One that wasn't there in the beginning of the video, and one that wasn't there when he passed by the tower initially. Marcus decides to follow the pathway that leads deeper into the forest. The path would lead to a tunnel lined with redstone torches. Before entering, Marcus would fail to notice the black figure watching him from the distant tree line. At the end of the tunnel would be two signs, one with a phrase with letters missing from the words, and another with 3 numbers and the word shift. These numbers are the same numbers as the coordinates given to him from the book. This is hinting towards shifting the text given to us from the house that we found when going to the coordinates. Marcus immediately put 2 and 2 together. He even states that he's going to use a decipher to go ahead and see what this is. After a bit, this is what he deciphered. I've been in my head for a while now. I can't explain what I've been seeing at night, but I can't tell if I'm going crazy or if something paranormal is happening. This constant fear washed over my body every night I sleep. I feel like I'm going to die. I close my door and no matter what I do, it always appears in my room. I hope someone can figure this out, but I highly doubt it. I just want whatever it is to leave me alone. I can't take this torment any longer. This book speaks in the perspective of somebody who is going through hallucinations. It looks like it's from the perspective of somebody who has schizophrenia, having hallucinations and being paranoid by it, having this constant fear of paranoia going through their entire body even while they're sleeping. This constant fear of feeling like they're going to die. The question is, how does this tie into Isaiah's and Marcus's story? Just as Marcus is about to leave the tunnel, a black figure walks across the tunnel entrance. This is the same figure that we saw in the first video, as well as the same figure that was watching him in the tree line. Why is this figure making itself known to Marcus now? What is its purpose and true intentions? Why reveal itself now after Marcus deciphered the book? Could this mean that this entity is trying to tell Marcus something, or is it trying to tell us, the viewers, something else? All of this seems a little fishy to me. I want to push Marcus with questions and get answers myself. However, I feel like the topic is a little touchy. It's already outgoing that he came to me to look into this stuff for him. However, I feel like I'm uncovering something that I should not be uncovering. Ironically enough, this video ends with Marcus seeing the entity again on top of the lighthouse. This entity revealed itself to Marcus one last time before disappearing. And that's where the video cuts. I feel like this entity is trying to tell Marcus something, or it's trying to hint to us of its identity. Something fishy is brewing here, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to figure out what this is all hinting at, and if that means I have to confront Marcus later down the line, I'm going to do it. Video 3, titled I'm Getting Tired, starts off as usual with Marcus greeting us in a happy state. However, he's back at the cliffside with the sign that he found from the second video. He quickly explains that he's been playing on the world, doing mining trips, and kind of just playing solo, trying to progress. The sign has new text on it. No warmth, no comfort. Kind of hinting towards something like the dead. I don't know what this is supposed to lead us to, but I feel like this is just something to diverge Marcus from whatever he is looking for. Marcus expressed that he's been getting tired of these things happening around the world. I would too, especially if it was a world that held this much sentimental value to me. As he made his way back, I noticed something hugely different with the world, and that is the corrupted textures scattered all over the place. Marcus says he has been seeing the corrupted textures from time to time, and mainly ignored them, thinking it was the mods that he had installed being buggy, but from what I can observe, it only seems to be affecting the areas that Marcus and Isaiah worked on. Marcus notices the textures started to corrupt the buildings and starts to grow some concern. He would notice the lights in the main house throwing a rave party without him and go to check it out. But what catches his attention was a sign that read, I am not who you think I am.
Who are you then? Tell me, who the f are you?
Followed by another sign by the storage room that states, but you do not need me anymore. This sends Marcus into an all-caps frenzy. His next actions are harder to define, other than full-on rage. He would start off with getting the materials to make a flint and steel. But would eventually switch to destroying the farm, even going as far as to switching game modes to creative to get TNT and flint and steel, going on a temper tantrum, burning down and destroying everything for the whole video. The thing is, why couldn't he just ban the person if he had all that power? If he had the ability to do so, to switch game modes? If he was having that much trouble, and if it really was a player, why not kick them or ban them? Unless the person never existed, maybe Marcus was developing some kind of mental illness like his brother Isaiah. Or maybe this entity in his world is the cause for all of the corruption. We have yet to decipher the name for the player that left in the second video, and no trails or puzzles have led us to revealing who this might be. Ironically, the video ends with Marcus burning down the lighthouse, the one thing that we see this entity around the most. The last video, titled Move On, has a lot to unpack for being the shortest of the videos. To start off, we leave right off where we left with the last video. Upon the start, Marcus doesn't greet us or do anything. Instead, he goes on to burn down the dock that he talked about in the first video, and the first thing he does after that is to go through the nether portal. Upon going through, he notices the item frames placed on the floor with pieces of paper placed in them, like a trail of papers leading him somewhere. He decides to follow the paper trail, seeing where it leads him, and eventually, we start to see a familiar corrupted texture. Next to it is another item frame and a paper that reads 10 years. Why 10 years? And sadly, Marcus gives us an answer without even having to say it. It's been 10 years since the death of Isaiah. Marcus lied to me when he messaged me in the first place. The timing of his death and everything was a whole decade ago. He would continue to follow the paper trails, and these would lead him to more of the same paper texts telling him to move on. Before he inevitably came across the entity from before. However, this time the entity seems a bit different. The name had a number 10 stuck to the end of it. 10 years. An undeciphered name. 10 shifts. I took the player name and shifted it 10 times, finally revealing the name of the player that we have been seeing all over the world. But when you flip it the other way around, it spells Isaiah. It was Isaiah spelt backwards. Everything started to make sense. The lighthouse, the pathways, the messages, the books, encrypted journal. It was all of Isaiah's doings, all of his attempts to reach out to Marcus, to us, to help Marcus move on. After the two conversate, Marcus was given a book. Within it was a hexadecimal cipher. And did I have fun deciphering this? Trapped soul, you need to move on. It's been 10 years, and all you've done is kept my memory in vain. This is the tortured soul of Isaias. Marcus's unwillingness to move on is keeping Isaias's memory in vain, preventing Isaias from moving on into the afterlife fully. All of the stuff that we see Isaias attempt to do, communicate via signs, puzzles, books, even corrupting the world, is attempts to get Marcus to move on and let go of him. He wants Marcus to be the best version of himself. And because Marcus has been lingering on about Isaias for the last 10 years, he wasn't able to do so. If you attempt to open the door, consequences will arise. That's a phrase from a photo hidden within a world that technically breaks reality, as the source of the world is unknown and the entity behind its way can never be named. About a week ago, an old friend sent me a Minecraft world file people had been quietly passing around online. It was called The Outer Rim. Every post mentioning it had been deleted within hours. He said he was able to snag a download of it before it vanished completely, and told me I should load it up myself and check it out. I was trapped in a small bedrock room where there were only 3 things: a button, a chest, and a sign that read "Take one and read." When I opened the world, something felt wrong immediately. Settings were locked, and I was stuck in adventure from the start and couldn't do anything to change that. So I decided to ask him directly. His reply was, "Just play the game." Cold, as if I've asked him multiple times before. Take one and read. Okay, and there's a button. And a soul lantern. Rules. The iron room must remain sealed. What does... Nothing after that, just... The iron room must remain sealed. That was the only rule written in this book. Rule 1. The iron room must remain sealed. It felt wrong, but clearly this place seemed to be some kind of SMP server just based off of this spawn room by itself. And servers always have more than one rule, which struck me odd. However, I decided to ignore this and decided to press the button. The button teleported me to a welcome message, like any other server. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna heavily lean on the this was a ripped world. What is up with the Soul Land? Okay, a welcome board. Hello, welcome to the Outer Rim SMP. Yeah, so this is an SMP world, or at least it used to be, I would assume, a server. Please follow our rules given to you upon spawning in. They may seem confusing, but these rules help us from keeping the server from going into complete NSLZD. What does that even mean? Please remember these three rules in your rule book and make sure to sign it, as if you lose your rule book, it is an immediate ban. Okay, so 3 rules. We have one rule. We literally have one rule. I'm gonna sign this because, you know, gotta follow the rules. Remember rule 3 and rule 1. They are the most important. So rule 1, rule 1, the iron room must remain sealed. So there's some type of iron room that must remain sealed. Okay. Enjoy your time on the server. All right. And there's a house. I still can't mine anything, so we're stuck in adventure, but look at this. Again with the soul lanterns. Community house. So this is like the spawn area, basically. Everything in this welcome message felt weird. 3 rules, but we only have 1. Rules 1 and 3 being the most important, and 1 word out of every single word being complete gibberish. First off, who edited the rulebook? Why erase only certain rules? And why remove and rewrite or hide them? That's when I noticed the house. This room is enticing me right now. Again with the soul lanterns. Okay. So this seems to be like... we need something to put in here. That's for sure. Something for sure needs to be put in there. It looked too clean, empty, dimly lit with soul lanterns. The soul lanterns is what caught me off guard. Why is there a constant use of soul lanterns? Why not a torch or a regular lantern? It's almost as if the house isn't meant to be lived in. I started off with exploring the first floor. I found 2 rooms. The disposal room and the bookshelf room. In the disposal room was bookshelves and a chest. In the chest were 3 axes and 3 diamonds, as if they were placed there deliberately, with a sign pointing towards a carpet on the floor. In the bookshelf room, it was almost completely empty. No books, no nothing, except for 1 book dead center. I can see why this is called the bookshelf room. Book and quill. Okay, let's see what this has. The words were in complete gibberish. But then it hit me. This is one of 2 things. This is either complete gibberish, which I highly doubt, or this is a cipher. A Caesar cipher to be specific. I'm gonna throw this into a decoder and see what it gives us. All right, I'm gonna put it right here. This is what I got from the Caesar cipher. 6 axes, 6 diamonds, find them around the house or around the lot. Good luck. Okay. I also took the liberty of decoding the word from the message board, and it translated to chaos. Why was chaos the only word scrambled in the welcome message? Why does this place care so much about numbers? 6 axes and 6 diamonds. What secrets are behind the iron door? And also, what are the original rules? That explains what we found in the disposal room. 3 diamonds and 3 axes. We have half of the puzzle. That's 6 items. We have half of the puzzle. But where do we go to find the rest? I mean, there's no chests. Oh wait, there was a chest. Was there not a chest in here? But there's nothing in the chest. I made my way to the 2nd floor of the house. The first thing I noticed was the signs above each of the doorways for the rooms on the 2nd floor. The symbols on them were weird. I didn't recognize them. They hinted towards another form of language or text that was probably used within the server that this world came from. There was a staircase just before the hall. Though before checking out the staircase, I went into each of the rooms. Each room had item frames with items in it, though I paid no attention to it. I swiftly made my way back towards the attic. The attic was packed with books and bookshelves. Each single one of these books was empty, except for one. Except for this one. Okay. There is literally nothing there. Inside was coordinates. These coordinates led me to a lava pool just outside of the house. One 186. Okay, I mean, this is the area that we need to be in. When I got there, there was nothing. I searched around and found absolutely nothing. No chest, no structures, no hidden signs, nothing that could lead me to the clues that this book was giving me. So I decided to head back to the house. And then it dawned on me, the items inside of the rooms, they weren't just decorations. They were definitely there for a reason. The rooms at the house. The items in the frames. What if they lead more to something? I took the items and put them in my inventory. Let's spell this out. Okay? So we have a lingering potion, oak leaves, oak saplings, ocelot egg, prismarine stairs, and rod, andesite, acacia log, lime, and lime wool, and vines. I decided to take the first letter from each single one of them. It didn't mean anything at first, but then I remembered repetition matters. So we have a lot of duplicate items, 3 oak saplings, 2 end rods, and 3 prismarine stairs. I decided to treat it like an old numpad. Doing that changes the sequence, and this is the sequence that you get. When rearranged, you get the message, "Look in lava." That's when it started to click. I didn't check if there was anything buried in it. I rushed back to the lava pool and found this. Here, this is 1 block off from here. Huh. Okay, we got an we need another book. We need 2 more axes and another diamond. A chest buried inside at the exact coordinates given to me from the book. And in the chest was another book with 1 axe and 2 diamonds. The book also gave me another set of coordinates and a 4th rule. Why was I getting another rule? There should only be 3 rules according to the welcome message. So why is there a 4th rule? What does it mean by counting by the dream? And this could open a plethora of rabbit holes. What are the numbers referring to? Could this be the repeating numbers coming from these puzzles? And how many rules were there originally? The new coordinates led me to another lava pool, farther out. However, this one looked like it was tampered with, as if someone wasn't able to finish doing what they were doing. I don't trust this. I feel like somebody has been here. Like, if this makes any sense, this looks like it was just tampered. They knew I was coming and... I'm on a single player world. This is a single player world. I'm pressing tab and... yeah, I don't want to jump in. I don't want to jump in. Is there anything over here? Ah, okay. We got the last 2 axes. However, just like the last lava pool, there was a chest hidden directly in the center of the lava, and inside were the remaining materials needed for the puzzle, and another book left for us to keep. This one was special. It was titled Alphabet. And inside was the strange symbols that we saw above the doors on the 2nd floor. These symbols weren't just random. They were tied to a different language, an entire alphabet system used in a visual way to communicate without naming or stating anything directly. Whatever this world is, whatever is being kept here, the alphabet system seems to play an important role in all of it. With this in mind, I rushed back to decode the symbols upstairs and finish the disposal room puzzle. Sleep, fracture. Okay, we have a notes part on this too. So sleep, fracture, that's ET. Loop, observer, fracture, OST. Is this supposed, like, what are we decoding on this? Loop, observer, observer. Et ost asos. And you know what? I should also keep track of the rules that we have. Rule 1 and rule 4. The fact that we have a 4th rule is insane. That means that there might be more rules than what's being shown on this server. So someone really tampered with the rules. Who tampered with the rules? That's the question. What's the point of this rule system too? It seems really weird not being able to access a certain room and then count what the dream counts. Dream, could it be talking about the core? When we look at this though, et ost asos, what sleep, fracture. I can't put it to thought. Is that what this alphabet system is supposed to be? It's just is it like oversimplification of certain thoughts? OST, loop, observer, fracture. End? But wouldn't that be D? Et ost asos. It ends soon, I'm gonna assume. I'm gonna assume that's the translation for this. I say we keep all the books on us, but we have to name them what they are. The sound of a piston door opening. Not far. At first I thought it was the iron room. The piston door came from somewhere else. It came from the bookshelf room. Underneath the redstone torch was a piston door, and underneath that was a chest. Inside the chest were 2 items, another book and Rule 3. Rule 3, the world repeats on purpose. What? And another book. Okay. Again, keeping track of the rules. We found Rule 3. The world repeats on purpose. I just got chills. That's the symbol of death or end. 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 And it's symbolic. We have 6 pages. We're going to recap this. 6 pages. We just got a book. 6 pages. What is the significance of this repeating 6? Time is irrelevant here. Granger isn't who she says she is. Whatever you do, leave while you still can. There used to be 6 of them. Now there's only this house and whatever she's after. Granger? What? Rule 3 read that the world repeats on purpose. What could this mean? What is it talking about? Day and night cycles, respawning, chunks, reloading, or something even worse? Repetition isn't a bug. Is this world some type of containment for an entity that we don't know the name of? Is the iron door really something we shouldn't be tampering with? So many questions I just want the answers to. Why is there another Granger? So many possibilities. Where does this rabbit hole lead? Okay. What is even going on? I know Granger. Granger is one of my one of my oldest friends. Granger is a guy. This has to be a different Granger. Either that or my memory is warped, which it's not. I know for a fact this is a different Granger that they're talking about, that this book is talking about. Time is irrelevant. Time is irrelevant. Time is irrelevant here. What does that mean? As I continued to spiral with question after question, we've checked every single room in this house except for one. The room that slipped my mind finally came back into thought. The library. Why did we even ignore this room in the first place? We haven't checked the library, have we? This is the only room that's boarded up. Oh god. Not this again. Just like the attic, there were packed bookshelves with empty books, except for one wall with 6 redstone torches. Again, repeating the number 6, but one bookshelf had only one book in it. And this book changes everything from here on out. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 these, and one. I would argue this is on this wall. This is the only bookshelf with a book on it that I can take out. Coordinates and another Caesar cipher, another puzzle. After shifting it, this is what it says. Where 2 trees lie, cut off by leaves, lie a hidden system for you in your wake. This book gives us coordinates and another cipher. This is where it leads us. This can't be natural. I mean, there's this, but this can't be natural. Upon arriving to the coordinates given to us by the book, we noticed the trees and how the leaves are cut off exactly like the book explained. They were like as if the chunk that the leaves were in disappeared and were somehow replaced with a completely different chunk. This sparked me to look around. And at first, I didn't notice anything until I started checking around the trees. That's when I found a button hidden underneath one of the trees. There's a button down there. Okay. Hey, not that. I mean, that is cut off. Where's the other one? Aha. As I dropped down, I found out that this was an underground sewer system. Well, at least it was supposed to be. It seemed unfinished. Taking a look at one of the 4 directions that we could have gone in, one of the tunnels was completely unfinished. However, when I checked down one of the tunnels, I found a slim corridor. This was not just a sewer system. This was a maze. And at first, this corridor seemed pretty simple. Don't tell me this is a complete maze. Oh man. So this is the system they're talking about. A sewer system that leads into a maze. And on the other end was also 2 more slim corridors. These corridors also were mazes, one harder than the other. However, one of them led me to a little area with a sign. Another one of these ciphers. Let's see. E-D-E-L. Writing this down. E-L-O-O-E-L-O-O-E-N-D. That's clearly N. We're gonna start spacing that. All right. S. That's another S. O-O-N. Te-lu ends soon. The loop ends soon. Te-lu. Okay. D-E. Fracture sleep. Right? L-O-O. Memory. Loop. I don't like where this is going. The loop ends soon. Your loop ends soon. Your loop ends soon. I felt threatened, as if I'm being warned. If I continue searching for whatever it is that I need to open this door, I'm going to die. I feel like I'm getting closer to a truth that I'm not supposed to know. Maybe the lanterns, maybe this thing with the time, with loops, maybe it has something to do with us. Your loop. Could this mean your time ends soon? Another corridor from there led to a smaller room. And in this room was a chest with a book in it. This book wasn't just a regular book, like all the other books that we found. There was no riddle, there was no puzzle. It was a journal from another player. Hello, I'm Asher. I don't know what loop you're on, but for you to find this means you've been here a while. Time is irrelevant here. That's why the soul lanterns are everywhere, and probably why you found my journal. They help with preventing the loop from resetting everything, including chunks, inventory, and memory. I forgot who discovered the use of the lanterns, but thanks to them, it made things a lot easier. Though we don't know the source of these memory loss issues, we made an alphabet system to prevent further issues. Someone on here, known as Granger, keeps coming around whenever we mention, I can't remember, it's best I don't say. Could that be what's being kept in containment here? I'm assuming. I'm gonna chunk up that this world is not a world. It's more of like a containment. That's what it feels like. Like, you don't want something to be opened at all. The soul lanterns are being used to prevent certain things from repeating. That's why it's written all over the house. As if it's containing something. These soul lanterns. Preventing the chunks in the house from resetting. The iron sealed room. Let's assume that if the world repeats, the chunks reset. That's probably why the trees that we saw, their leaves were cut off. They used to consistently reset before the soul lantern. I don't want to end up like the others, but he keeps mentioning something about individual loops. I don't know what these loops are, but once they are slain. By him they are gone for good. However, he keeps this server in order, prevents chaos, and so far it's been fun. Not knowing what this source they talk about scares me, and as far as anyone else knows, the admins of the server have been talking about a new function system. All 6 of them have talked about a new 6-step rule system that beats this 3-step process they have right now. Something seems off. What is this constant repetition of 6 though? There are 6 rules. There were 6 admin. There were 6 items that we had to collect. It was 6 diamonds and it was 6 axes. There were 6 redstone torches. By now, the repetition of 6 doesn't feel random. There are 2 definitions of 6: numerology and biblical. In numerology, 6 symbolizes the caregiver, which is linked to family, home, and community. Funny because we got a majority of our puzzles from the community home. Biblically, 6 symbolizes humanity, imperfection, and worldly effort. In the Bible, we were created on the 6th day, falling short of the divine perfection of the 7th. It also represents the ultimate human failure without God, but also points to God's grace for imperfect humanity. Our assumptions about this world being some type of containment was correct. However, it is not for a person or for any normal entity. Whatever entity this is, it's considered a divine entity. Basically, to other people, it's a god. Something here has that type of power, that it would be put into a constant loop, or maybe its own power used against it. Whatever it is, I need to know who or what is being kept behind those iron doors. I made my way back and decided to take the route that went farther down. I noticed I decided to reach Deep Slate, and as I continued to explore, I found myself going even farther. Another cipher. For sure, we know this means to know is to. So to know is to what? AE. We chucked this up earlier. This alphabet system is basically a very simplified, just like thought over simplified. If we're thinking this through, basically whatever we look or however we look at this, they're taking out letters from these symbols, right? Or basically they're taking letters out from the words if it's already not in the alphabet. So H got taken out, P got taken out. So A could be to know is to wake, but to wake what? The Deep Slate level of the sewers was just a gigantic, massive maze. Corridors upon corridors of tunnels that I had to traverse alone. And there it was, a staircase that led to a lower portion of the maze, and hidden in this lower part was another bookshelf with a book placed directly in the center of it. In the book was 3 things. Rule 6, do not seek completion. An alphabet encoded message that translates to end is to know, and to know is to awaken. And a warning, beware of the ones who seek. What is it that it's talking about when it comes to awaken? To know is to awaken. To know what? Could it be the name of this divine entity? I continued on with exploring the rest of the maze, and eventually I found a button on the wall. Something within the maze opened, so I quickly backtracked towards the stairs that we came from and started searching the maze to see if anything had changed. Eventually, I noticed a corridor that wasn't there before, primarily the green vines that stuck out like a sore thumb. And as I walked down the corridor, I found another button. And once I pressed it, the corridor behind me closed, and I was trapped within here. I took the corridor down, and it led me into a grand room. On the other end of the room was a tunnel, and in the middle of the tunnel was a light. What is this place? As I reached the end of the room, there stood 2 things, a chest and a button. In the chest were 2 books. One book contained a bunch of pages with a bunch of 1s and 0s. But these aren't just random 1s and 0s, they are binary. This code could decode into anything. It can decode into a link, it can decode into a message, or it can decode into a phrase. Putting it through the decoder, I got a message. And this message read, 6 processes, 6 restraints, 6 ways to keep it asleep. What once took many to dance, play, and contain, now take function, puzzles, riddles, and rhymes. It kind of stuck with me. All of the stuff that we've been doing, the puzzles, decoding messages, which were basically riddles that also turned into rhymes, the Caesar ciphers, all of it was just unraveling this containment that this world poses as, according to this message. They don't want whatever is being kept here to wake up. In the second book gives us an image. This image is of a journal, and in this journal page are 2 photos with me and another person in it. I don't know who this person is, however their face looks familiar, but the main point of this should be the background. Both of the photos are very familiar. One is in front of the lava pool from the first puzzle, and another one is in front of the house, specifically next to the welcome message. One thing to notice is the lantern. It's not a soul lantern. It's a regular lantern. This could probably be why I don't remember this person. Could this have been an admin? Could this have been Asher? Or could this have been who the other Granger is? I don't know. Clearly, I have some tie to this world, seeing that I have been on here before the discovery of the lanterns. And Asher said that somebody had to have discovered the use of these lanterns. So if I have been on this world or server before, when? And how many times have I been on it? And how have I been on it? I have no recollection of this world. So what is the history between me and this world? Who are these people to me? And what is the bigger picture here? We're given a set of text. Remember all 6 rules. They prevent the source from waking. Waking means completion, and completion means collapse. If you get stuck, continue the loop. This seems like something that you would give an admin, somebody that you trust, as if you were passing down from admin to admin. Or am I making assumptions too irrationally? If you attempt to open the door, consequences will arise. I want to know what's behind that door. At the bottom of the page, there are coordinates. Coordinates that lead far past the lava pool. Now the only question is, how do we get out of the sewer system? What does the button do? I followed the coordinates, and the coordinates led me to a sunken ship just off the shore of a dark oak forest. Inside the boat was a chest, followed by 2 soul lanterns. Symbolic, is what I thought. And upon opening the chest, we see items, paper. But hidden amongst them was the key card and rule number 5. Rule number 5 kind of stuck out to me. Sound binds the core. There was no sounds in here, no music, nothing but the ambience from the animals. The admins were charged with keeping the core asleep. I had a bad feeling about opening this iron door. My greed was too strong to resist. I rushed back to the house and opened the door. While scrolling through my inbox, I noticed a weird email from a weird user with a short message stating, "Come and solve the puzzle. You are not the first, you will not be the last, but you are on time. The outcome is already set." And attached was a Google Drive link. I hovered over this link contemplating my options, as this can be many things: a malware or a prank, and maybe even something worse. I even attempted to send them an email and got no response. They flat out ignored me. I decided to click on the link, letting my curiosity win, and as I opened the file, I noticed that it contained photos and videos, including an audio file. The first things I decided to do was to go look at the photos. There were 3: past, present, and future. The past held the photo of an unnamed girl, present held one of an unnamed man, and the future held one of me. It brought me questions, as I don't know how I got into this file. Maybe it could have been somebody who was posing as me. Taking a look at the background, these seem to be taken on some kind of map, but I don't have the world that these photos were taken in. However, I brushed this unease feeling off and shifted my focus towards the videos. Immediately, we meet our protagonist, the man in the present photos. He is also known as Jonas, as in the video he introduces himself as Jonas, going as far as introducing his entire username, Jonas09. And just by telling off the textures from his right hand, we already can put 2 and 2 together who he was. Jonas then goes on to explain how he got the map. He stated that he got the map via an email from a company. I would assume it's a corporate company, seeing as they offered him a computer and a handsome prize for finishing this puzzle map. Though it still strikes me odd. I'm assuming that he is some kind of kid, based off of the fact that he would actually agree to go through with this, accepting to do a puzzle map for a brand new computer and maybe some cash on the side. Jonas then shifts his attention to the book in his hotbar, titled Record Book. "Hello, Jonas. This is not a test. Tests end. This is an observation. You will move. You will respond. Where this leads already has an outcome accounted for." Odd. I didn't have any questions for it, but it just kind of felt direct. It kind of felt like whoever put this here or whoever made the map already knew the outcome of what was going to happen to Jonas. It kind of felt out of place as well. I don't understand why this is so forward and straight to the point with what is going on. It's a puzzle map. You don't know if Jonas is going to complete it or not, to be honest. But for some reason, whoever sent him the map via that email knew a little too much. This record will update as observation continues. Return to it when the path appears to change. This piqued my interest the most. So this book will update as he progresses through the puzzle, which is kind of a cool feature for this map. As the puzzles progress, as he progresses through whatever this map has to offer him, there probably is going to be hints and clues given to him via this record book. Or probably it will just keep track of the puzzles that he completed. Jonas opens the chest that has been patiently waiting for us since the beginning. Within the